Good afternoon. This is Ron Brown. It's April 18th, Thursday, April 18th, and this video is about my favorite prospecting scans. I've been doing a lot of work trying to make the scanning process simpler and more powerful, and I think I've come up with some pretty good solutions, at least for myself, and I hope they work for you. I call this Power Techniques with HGS Investor Software, and always remember the market is your teacher. Okay, as usual, any stock index or ETF mentioned in this presentation is not a recommendation to buy or sell. All trading strategies are used at your own risk. Now, for those of you who are in my Insiders Club, you're going to get these new files. They're not available to non-subscribers, but what I want to point out is I want you to delete everything that does not have my name on it. So what you're going to end up with after you reinstall the add-on, you're going to only have 2 folders rather than 3. You're going to have my favorite daily prospecting scans, end of day and intraday, and then the regular folder, which contains all of the other scans and so on. But these two, so just go in and delete on the choose create warehouse view. Now I've already deleted the other one, but just anything with my name on it, just click on it and then go over here to the right and delete it, and then download and install the add-on, and then you're going to end up with these same files that I'm showing right now. Now, the reason I did this is because I wanted to consolidate. There was just too much. I do a lot of experimentation, and I find that a lot of things I experiment with I end up not using. So now I am cutting down to make the scanning and prospecting process simpler for me and hopefully for you. Now what you're going to end up with is the inventory, which I had everything in before, and then I pulled some files out and put them in my favorite folders. I had an end of day, but now I've combined the end of day and intraday. And what I'm going to talk about most today are the intraday money flow and the most active. And then if I have a chance, I'll get into this other information too. If not, I'll make other videos in the future. But let's just talk about this. The intraday money flow scans require that the intraday range be at least above the 50 percentile mark. And I am not requiring that the volume be above the 90 day moving average volume is what I'm trying to say. I took that requirement out because a lot of stocks that are showing strength are not going to be trading tremendously heavy volume. So my intraday money flow scans require a positive price and the range to be above 50. Now the scans that are out, money flowing out, are just the opposite. They have to be below 50% and money flowing out, and volume is not a factor here. Now this differs from my end of day money flow, which requires the volume be above the 90-day average. And the reason I designed it that way is I really wanted to see stocks that were showing both volume increase and range 50% or above. That gives me a better idea of end of day money flow. But here we're talking about intraday. Now by the end of the day, some of these volume numbers could change, and these could be well above the 90-day average. But let's get started here. The first one is sorted on the percent industries up. So this column right here. Now what I do is go into my designer and I click on industries, and then I'll go to tools and I'll rebuild indexes in that group. And what this is doing is updating the industries according to where they stand when I begin my prospecting process. So watch this column here. After these update, these numbers will change. It may take just a few seconds. Well, maybe the indexes, there it went. It took about 20 seconds. So now you can see what the industries are currently doing. So the intraday money flow in, I'm going to bring up an arrow here, has 1,404 securities in it. It's being driven by the combo, the industry percentage price gain, which is right here. And it is showing stocks that are above 50% of their daily range, and they're positive. And that gives us 1,404. And of course, once again, I'm sorted on the percent industry groups. Now, if I go down to the next view, which is 1A, this is 1, nothing's going to change as far as the number, but the stocks are going to be sorted according to how much the demand there is based upon a different combo. So you can see that the combo changed. It's now intraday percentage price change, the volume, and the range, and this brings up a different stock to the top of the list. Now this is a cheap stock. You can see that that's may be a stock that you don't want to waste your time looking at, but it does show the demand of these 1,404 securities, the ones that are in most demand. Now it's up 17.31% at 97% of its daily range, and it's trading 257% times its normal 90-day volume. So let's just take a look at it. Now, what I have here are a weekly chart. You can see this stock used to be much more expensive, and it's been basing down here, and it's broken out. If you look at the pocket pivots that have been coming in here, so heavy volume has been coming in, and then there was a sharp pullback, and now there are buyers again today on a low volume test. And that information about the volume is in here. What we have here is a relative strength to the S&P 500. It's outperforming the group because the green line is up, and here is the industry group. So a lot of information in these two charts. I don't have any of my moving averages in this view, but I really don't need them. I can see there was heavy volume coming in here, and there's heavy volume again today, which you see up here also. Now, if you don't want to look at all these cheap stocks, you can take these views, and I'll go back up to number 1. I should have just used my quick pick, but I can go out of all securities, and I can go into user smart groups if I want to, or I can go down to my major market components, and let's just look at the NASDAQ 100. 24 securities are currently above the moving average. This is sorted on the industry group, and the infrastructure software is up the most out of the HGS, or I'm sorry, the NASDAQ 100. And if let's see, let me make sure I'm on the right one here. Okay, this is sorted on the industries up, infrastructure software. And if I go to demand, you can see that Discovery comes to the top of the list because I'm sorted on that other combo. Still 24 securities, nothing's changed there. NVIDIA is at number 3 here, Starbucks is number 2, and Discovery is number 1. I'll get the quick pick out of the way. First place I look is at the weekly chart. This trend is down. The odds are against you making money on this one to the upside. Let's take a look here at Starbucks. I'm going to go over here and look at the relative strength. It's really poor. This crossed down 12 days ago, and the VPOC crossed up 1 day ago, but it's got to be a weak stock because the relative strength is not doing well at all. But over 5 and 10 days, it has outperformed the S&P. The S&P is 1.00. Any number above that is an outperformance. So let's just take a look at it. But here it is. Because of the relative strength, I know that it is not doing well. It's in a downtrend, but there are some buyers coming in on the daily and the weekly, but still it's going to be a struggle because you're fighting the dominant chart over here. Let's look at this. It is turned up slightly outperforming the S&P. The industry group is going down. The green indicates that it's slightly outperforming its industry group, and this is in restaurants. So if I want to look at the strongest stocks first, I can sort on the relative strength rank, and you can see that this is a very strong stock on the weekly chart. It's been consolidating here on the daily chart. We all know about NVIDIA. Strong weekly chart with a pullback though, and it still has not turned up. Again, it's been trying. Money flows into this stock every day, and then at the end of the day, it seems like on a lot of days they just take their profits and move on. But the point is, you don't have to use all securities. If you want the Russell stocks, you just go there. If you want the S&P 1500, go there. But I'm going to show you some shortcuts here in just a matter of minutes. So that's the intraday. Sort on the raw combo. The first one's industries. This is demand. This is industries down, number 2. And this is supply. I'm in the S&P 1500 right now. I want to go back to all securities. So I hold my alternate key and hit the space bar. And it's going to change up here to all securities. So now I have to reapply the filter. And there's 1152 on money flow out. Let's compare this to money flow in. There's 1310. The market has gotten weaker over the last hour or so. These numbers were higher, but you can get a quick read on money flow in and money flow out. Now, if you want to concentrate on the S&P 500 stocks that are assigned to sectors, just go down to number 3 and use these, because you're going to find that these are all familiar names. This is a money flow in sector stock. This is sorted on the industry up. The next one, 3A, is demand. So I click on that. You can see that Allstate pops to the top. Crossed down 7 days ago on both indicators. It's got a fair relative strength. It's been underperforming the S&P, but it's up today. When are the earnings? The earnings are due on the 1st of May. Let's just bring it up. Both charts, you can see it's got a strong weekly chart. Had a little correction last week, and buyers are coming back into it and are moving it up. Volume shows pocket pivot volume yesterday. So money's flowing into this, going into earnings. So that's money flow in, and this is based upon demand. Now see that it updated, and Kinder Morgan popped to the top of the list. You look here at the weekly chart, you can see that it's really range bound over a long period of time, even though this is moving up. With a chart like this, there's really no trend. When the weekly chart doesn't show continuous strength, I think it's going to be hard for this stock to make much progress, but that's just my opinion. Let's see what's number 2 under demand. United Airlines, you can see that it reported earnings and had a good report. It's outperforming the S&P 500 and it's outperforming its group. Once again, it struggles to go very far, so I'd be cautious about it. What's the relative strength? 85, not too bad. But we're looking at the short term with this money flow in. And short term, this is very strong. Look at that volume coming into it. I mean, that's volume that we haven't seen in here before. So maybe it does have a chance to get out of there. But yesterday, this was showing up at the open. It was around $45, and it's currently at 51.03. So there was an opportunity to get in this. If you get in and look at these scans early in the morning, you'll see where the money's flowing. Okay, moving on. Same thing, down and supply. On the downside, Corning, the electronic components group is down, and it's down. Let's go to the supply. T-row price, sorted on raw combo, is down $2 and 2.07%, trading at the bottom of its range. Not looking good. Let's look at the weekly chart. Weekly chart was actually looking good until the past 3 weeks. So that might have further to go. What's the earnings date on it? 4/26. So earnings are still in the future. Okay, let's move on. So the next are sector stocks and ETFs. I'm going to the S&P sectors, and I'm also including ETFs. So if you see a blank here under the industry, it's an ETF, or if it's not an ETF, it'll be a stock in the sectors that I have not assigned to a group yet. But most of the time, it's just going to be an ETF. Like this is the gold ETF, which is money flow in. You can see the money is still flowing in because why? It's positive and it's above the 50 percentile on the daily range. What is the daily range here? Well, it's right here, 76.03, and it shows it here also. You can see it's been outperforming the S&P 500 on the daily and the weekly charts. Gold, as we all know, has been very strong. And look where that crossover happened, 41 days ago. I'm just going to quickly go down to my 2B. And by the way, with the 2B chart, I put another couple of indicators in here. Well, I put the force 10-day. It's just under the volume point of control 1010. Just kind of helps show how much strength there is based upon the force index. When the histogram is up at the upper end, there's good strength there, and it may help keep us in stocks a little bit longer. It's just another visual. All my indicators that I use are based upon price and volume. You know that. And this is another indicator. Anyway, here is a crossover clear back here. I don't think it went, well, maybe it went, no, it didn't go negative here. So here's the crossover clear back here. And this stock has not looked back. Okay, I'm going to go back to this chart. So my thinking is I like to look at, see what the sectors are doing, and by interspersing the ETFs, they should be moving together. Not always, but it's just a way to tell where the money's flowing when comparing stocks and ETFs. So that's up and down. Now this one here, these are stocks and ETFs that have weekly options. So you can see the money flow in and out. These are box stocks. If you like to trade box stocks only, here's the box column right over here. There's demand and supply. And this is price change up stocks and groups. What I use this for is to get a quick read on the market of stocks that are assigned to industry groups. So if you go up here and look at this number, 1934, there's 1934 showing money flow in and 1575 showing money flow out. This was stronger a couple hours ago, so it's pulled back, but it's still a positive day on money flow. Now this one, I put this in yesterday. I thought maybe this would be helpful for those of you who like to trade ETFs. So this is money flow in on ETFs. This accesses the ETFs and ETNs in the software, and you can see that there's a lot of Bitcoin showing up here today that the money is flowing in on Bitcoin ETFs. Money flowing out. Semiconductors I see is flowing out. So semiconductors bull is flowing out. So you can get a quick read and look for potential trades there. And then finally, money flow in. Apply this to the industry groups. So if I go back up here and go to my industry groups, I just rebuilt this a little while ago. It shows me 54 of these groups are above the 50% on their daily range and 47 down. So a quick read on the groups on money flow in and money flow out. This can be very helpful if you like to see what's happening in the market during the day, because yesterday's news is old news. This is current news. I'm going to take you through one more folder, and I'm going to come back with a different video on these others over in the next few days. The most active. If you like to find the most active stocks, first of all, I need to go back to all securities. I'll just use the drop-down menu this time. Whoops, missed it, didn't I? Okay, here's all securities. Most active securities. Now, I haven't pointed out that I went into all of these and I put the intraday time column in here so you can see how fresh these quotes are. And these are all at 1:20 Eastern time on Thursday, and these are the most active based upon intraday price change, intraday range, and you can see that there's a biotech stock on top, followed by Badger Meter and so on. But this is in all securities, 329 of them. Now, most active down, there's 263. So the most active for all securities is leaning towards the positive side. Now, if you don't want to look at all these stocks, I've got these broken out for us. Large caps only. Alley Financial. You can see that it's all green here, up 8.23%. Trading 103% above the 90-day moving average volume. I left the 20-day volume in here too, just so you'd get a comparison, but this is the most active stock in this list. Strong weekly chart. It did pull back, but there's money flowing back into it. Earnings are due today. That's why money is flowing back into it. It must have had a good earnings report. Okay, these are most active down. Mid cap, up, down on the mid cap. Small cap, up, down. Micro cap, up, down. And then the most active on stocks and ETFs, it just updated. A weekly. So you can see the time has changed up here. Weekly options. These have weekly options, both stocks and ETFs. You can see the long VIX UVIX is here at number 2. And down, what do we have? Hertz is down the most on the most active to the downside. Now here I have, rather than having you drop down to the component stocks, I put these in most active up on the NASDAQ 100. This list has gotten smaller as the day has gone along, and the most active down. There's more most active downs than up. What do we have? 5 and 13 compared to 13. Now on the S&P 500, 40 on the upside, most active. United Airlines is at the top again. On the downside, Snap-on Tools followed by Micron. These are the most active to the downside. Let's just take a look at Snap-on. Look at this. Let's see, what's the earnings date here? 4/18 reported earnings today. So what we're getting here by looking at money flow in and out and most active, you get a feel, or you know exactly what's going on in the market right now. Here's the 1500 if you want to look at the broader. 91 up, 80 down. So there's still an upward bias on both the most actives and the money flow in and out. So I'm going to leave it at this. Remember to delete my warehouse files and also delete my chart files and then install the add-on. And then you're going to have exactly what I'm showing you today. And I'll go into these others in a different video, maybe tomorrow. If not, it'll be very soon. Thank you for listening, and I hope you get a lot of use out of these new scans.